Welcome to Chinese History and Mythology.
Hey friends, welcome back to Chinese History and Mythology. Last time we talked about how Zhuge Liang's fifth northern campaign officially began, and how the struggle between Wei and Shu entered its heaviest stage. At that time, based on the stars and strange signs among the people, Qiaozhou advised the later lord to stop Zhuge Liang from sending out the army. He said that tens of thousands of birds had flown from the south and thrown themselves into the Han River to die, that the Kui star had entered the position of Taibai, that the strong energy of the north was flourishing, which was not favorable for attacking Wei, and that the people of Chengdu were also spreading rumors that cypress trees were crying at night. All of these were unlucky signs, but Zhuge Liang believed that he had received the heavy trust of the late emperor to protect the orphan ruler, so he should do everything he could to attack Cao Wei. He could not give up the great work of restoring the Han house just because of these false and empty signs of disaster. So Zhuge Liang went to the temple of Emperor Zhao Li to worship Liu Bei. With tears in his eyes, he swore that he had sent troops to Mount Qi 5 times, yet had not taken even 1 inch of land, and that his guilt was not light. Now that he was once again commanding the great army, he would certainly exhaust all his strength to attack Cao Wei, restore the central plains, and devote himself completely until death. But before the army even set out, Shu Han first lost a great general. Guanxing died of illness. When Zhuge Liang heard the news, he cried out loudly and fainted to the ground. He sighed that such a loyal and righteous man should not have died so young, and that in this northern campaign he had lost another important general. After that, Zhuge Liang led 340,000 Shu soldiers, divided them into 5 routes, and once again came out to Mount Qi. He ordered Jiang Wei and Wei Yan to serve as vanguards and had Li Hui first transport grain to the mouth of the Ji Valley Road and wait there. On the wayside, when Cao Ri heard that Zhuge Liang had sent troops again after 3 years, he was greatly shocked and hurriedly summoned Sima Yi to discuss the situation. Sima Yi believed that Zhuge Liang was acting against heaven and bringing defeat upon himself, so he requested permission to go on campaign. He also recommended Xiahou Ba, Xiahou Wei, Xiahou Hui, and Xiahou He to join the army and assist in military planning. Cao Rui appointed Sima Yi as Grand Commander and gathered 400,000 troops to set up camp around the Wei River. At the same time, he issued an edict reminding Sima Yi to defend firmly and not come out, not to engage lightly, and only to wait until the Shu army ran out of grain and withdrew on its own. Zhuge Liang also saw that this time, Sima Yi planned to hold his ground to the end. He set up 5 large camps at Mount Qi, and from Zi Valley to Jingge, he established 14 camps in succession, preparing for a long standoff. Then he tried to use the Wei River as part of his strategy. On the surface, he would attack Beiyuan, but in reality, he planned to send wooden rafts downstream to burn the Wei army's pontoon bridges, then attack the Wei army from both front and rear. But Sima Yi quickly saw through Zhuge Liang's intention. He set archers in ambush near the pontoon bridges ahead of time, and also ordered Guo Huai and Sun Li to pretend to retreat, luring the Shu army into pursuit. As a result, Wei Yan and Ma Dai were defeated at Beiyuan. When Wu Ban led wooden rafts to burn the pontoon bridges, he was struck by arrows, fell into the water, and died. Wang Ping and Zheng Ni, not knowing the full situation, were also ambushed by the Wei army. In this battle, the Shu army lost more than 10,000 men, and Zhuge Liang felt deeply troubled. In order to restrain Cao Wei, Zhuge Liang then sent Fei Yi as an envoy to Eastern Wu, asking Sun Quan to send troops together against Wei. Sun Quan agreed to personally go on campaign and arranged for Lu Xun, Zhu Zhijing, San Shao, Zhang Cheng, and others to attack Wei in 3 routes. But Eastern Wu's attack ultimately did not succeed. Wenchang used a night attack to burn the Wu army's water camp. Although Lu Xun had another clever plan, his memorial was captured by Wei soldiers, and the secret was exposed, so he had no choice but to withdraw. After Zhuge Liang learned that Eastern Wu had returned without success, he was greatly shaken, and his old illness returned again. On the front line at Mount Qi, Zhuge Liang continued to match wits with Sima Yi. He first saw through the Wei general Zheng Wen's false surrender plan, then turned Zheng Wen's letter back against Sima Yi, luring him into sending troops to raid the camp. Although Sima Yi was cautious and sent Qin Lang ahead while he supported from behind, he still fell into Zhuge Liang's ambush. The Shu army attacked from all sides, the Wei army was badly defeated, and Qin Lang died in the chaos. Later, while inspecting the terrain, Zhuge Liang discovered Shangfang Valley. This place was shaped like a gourd. The inside could hold troops, while the entrances and exits were narrow, making it very suitable for an ambush. He secretly ordered Ma Dai to guard the valley mouth, and had craftsmen manufacture wooden oxen and flowing horses inside the valley. At the same time, he secretly arranged dry firewood, landmines, and fire attack devices, preparing to lure Sima Yi into the valley and capture or kill him in one move. After the wooden oxen and flowing horses were completed, it became much easier for the Shu army to transport grain. Sima Yi sent Zheng Hu and Yue Chen to seize several wooden oxen and flowing horses, then copied them and made more than 2,000 of his own. But all of this was also within Zhu Zhiliang's expectations. Zhu Zhiliang then ordered Wang Ping to disguise himself as a Wei soldier and seize the grain that the Wei army was transporting with wooden oxen and flowing horses. He also had Zhang Ni dress up as the divine soldiers of the 6 Ding and 6 Jia, creating the appearance of gods and spirits and frightening Guo Huai into retreat. When Sima Yi personally came to rescue them, he was intercepted by Zhang Yi and Liao Hua and escaped in a miserable state. In order to lure Sima Yi out, Zhuge Liang deliberately scattered the Shu soldiers to farm in different places, and also had Gao Xiang use wooden oxen and flowing horses to pretend to transport grain, luring the Wei army into several easy victories. Sima Yi believed that the Shu army had truly exposed a weakness, so he decided to attack the main camp at Monkey, while personally leading troops in a surprise attack on Shangfang Valley to burn the Shu army's grain and supplies. He did not expect that this was exactly Zhu Zhiliang's plan. Wei Yan was ordered to pretend to lose, luring Sima Yi and his sons all the way into Shangfang Valley. By the time Sima Yi discovered that the valley was full of dry firewood, it was already too late. Torches fell from the mountains, the mouth of the valley was cut off by fire, and the landmines and fire weapons all activated at once. Sima Yi and his sons were trapped in the valley and were almost certain to die. Sima Yi held his 2 sons and cried, thinking that all 3 of them, father and sons, would be buried in the sea of fire. But at the most critical moment, wild winds suddenly rose, thunder sounded, and heavy rain poured down, putting out all the flames in the valley. Sima Yi and his sons escaped from death. When Zhu Zhiliang saw this from the mountain, he could only sigh deeply. Man makes the plans, but heaven decides the outcome. From then on, Sima Yi defended even more firmly and refused to come out. Zhu Zhiliang stationed his army at Wuzhang Plain and challenged him many times, but the Wei army did not respond. In order to anger Sima Yi, Zhu Zhiliang sent him women's headscarves and white mourning clothes, mocking him for hiding in his camp like a woman. Although Sima Yi was furious in his heart, he still forced himself to endure it. He even used the chance to ask the Shu envoy about Zhu Zhiliang's food, sleep, and handling of government affairs. When he heard that Zhu Zhiliang ate very little, but personally asked about everything, Sima Yi judged that Zhu Zhiliang did not have long to live. When Zhu Zhiliang heard this, he also admitted that Sima Yi had truly seen through him. Registrar Yang Yong took the chance to advise him that he should not personally handle every single matter, or else his body and spirit would surely become exhausted. Zhu Zhiliang said with tears that it was not that he did not understand this truth, but that he had received the late emperor's heavy trust to protect the orphan ruler, and he feared that others would not devote themselves as completely as he did. Before long, Zhu Zhiliang observed the stars at night and saw that the master star was dim, while the supporting star had no light. He knew then that his end was near. Jiang Wei advised him to use a prayer ritual to extend his life. So Zhu Zhiliang set up the 7-star lamps inside his tent and prayed to the Northern Dipper, hoping to extend his life by 12 years so he could continue completing the great work of the northern campaigns. For 6 full nights, the lamp of his life did not go out, and Zhu Zhiliang had just begun to feel a thin line of hope. But at that moment, Xiaohuba came to test the Shu camp. When Wei Yan heard that the Wei soldiers had arrived, he rushed into the tent and panicked to report it, and with one step he knocked out the main lamp. Zhu Zhiliang dropped his treasured sword and sighed deeply, saying that life and death were ruled by fate and could not be turned back by prayer. Wei Yan fell to the ground and begged for forgiveness, but Jiang Wei was furious. He drew his sword and was about to kill him. So will Jiang Wei really kill Wei Yan? Now that the 7-star lamp has gone out, is Zhu Zhiliang truly beyond saving? And after Shu Han loses Zhu Zhiliang, where will the great work of the northern campaigns go? Let's continue the story. Now, when Jiang Wei saw Wei Yan rushing to the tent and knock out Kongming's left lamp, he was furious and drew his sword to kill him. Kongming quickly stopped him and said, "This is because my fate has reached its end. It is not Wenchang's fault." Only then did Jiang Wei put away his sword. Kongming spat out several mouthfuls of blood and lay down on the bed. He said to Wei Yan, "This is because Sima Yi has judged that I am ill, so he has sent troops to test what is real and what is false. Go out quickly and meet the enemy." Wei Yan accepted the order, left the tent, mounted his horse, and led troops out of the camp. When Xiaohuba saw Wei Yan come out, he hurriedly led his troops away. Wei Yan chased him for more than 20 li before returning. Kongming ordered him to go back and guard his own camp as before. Jiang Wei entered the tent to ask about Kongming's condition. Kongming said to him, "I originally wanted to exhaust all my loyalty, restore the Central Plains, and revive the Han House. But heaven's will is like this, and my life is now only a matter of days. Everything I have learned in my life has already been written into 24 chapters, with a total of 104,112 characters. Inside are military methods such as the 8 duties, the 7 warnings, the 6 fears, and the 5 dangers. I have looked through all the generals, and there is no one else I can pass them to. Only you can inherit them. You must never treat them lightly." Jiang Wei cried, bowed, and accepted them. Kongming then said, "I also have a method for making repeating crossbows, but I have not had time to use it. The bolts are 8 inches long, and one crossbow can fire 10 bolts. I have already drawn the plans. You can make them according to the drawings." Jiang Wei bowed again in thanks. Kongming then instructed him, "There is no need to worry too much about the different roads in Shu. Only Yinping must be watched carefully. Although this place is dangerous and difficult, after enough time passes, it will surely be broken through by someone." After that, he summoned Ma Dai into the tent, whispered a secret plan into his ear, and instructed him, "After I die, act according to this plan." Ma Dai accepted the plan and left. Before long, Yang Yi entered the tent. Kongming called him to the bedside, gave him a brocade bag, and secretly instructed him, "After I die, Wei Yan will surely rebel. When he rebels, open this bag in front of the army. Someone will naturally kill Wei Yan." Yang Yi accepted the order. After Kongming had arranged everything one by one, he fell into a heavy faint and did not wake until evening. Then, through the night, he submitted a memorial to the later lord. When the later lord learned that Kongming was seriously ill, he was greatly alarmed and immediately ordered Minister Li Fu to travel through the night to the army to ask about his condition and to ask about affairs after his death. Li Fu reached Wuzhang Plain, entered the tent, bowed to Kongming, and delivered the later lord's concern. Kongming said with tears, "Unfortunately, I will die halfway through my work and leave the great affairs of the state unfinished. I have wronged the people of the world. After I die, you must do everything you can to serve the ruler with loyalty. The old systems of the state must not be changed casually. The people I have used must not be dismissed lightly. My military methods have already been passed to Jiang Wei. He can inherit my intention and serve the state. My life may end at any moment, so I must immediately write a final memorial and present it to the Son of Heaven." Li Fu understood his meaning and hurriedly took leave. Kongming forced himself to support his sick body and ordered the men on both sides to help him onto a small carriage. He went out of the camp to inspect the different camps. The autumn wind blew against his face, and the cold went deep into his bones. Kongming sighed deeply and said, "I can no longer personally come to the battlefield to attack the rebels. Vast heaven above, when will this ever end?" He sighed for a long time. After returning to the tent, his illness became even more serious. Kongming then summoned Yang Yi to the bedside and instructed him, "Wang Ping, Liu Hua, Zhang Yi, Wu Yi, and the others are all loyal and righteous men. They have long experience in battle and have worked hard many times. They can be entrusted with important duties. After I die, all matters should still be handled according to the old methods. When withdrawing the army, retreat slowly. Do not be impatient. You understand strategy deeply, so I do not need to tell you too much. Zhang Boyu has both wisdom and courage. He can guard the rear." Yang Yi cried, bowed, and accepted the order. Kongming ordered the writing tools to be brought over and personally wrote his final memorial to the later lord from his sickbed. The general meaning of the memorial was, "Your servant Liang is slow and dull by nature. I was born into troubled times, received the command to hold military power, and led armies north, yet I failed to succeed. Now my illness has entered the deepest part of my body, and my life is in danger. I can no longer serve your majesty, and my regret is endless. I humbly ask your majesty to keep your heart clear and your desires few, to restrain yourself and to love the people. Be filial toward the late emperor, show kindness to the world, raise up worthy men living in seclusion, and stay far away from treacherous petty men, so that the customs of the people may return to honesty and simplicity." Kongming also wrote in the memorial, "My family in Chengdu has 800 mulberry trees and 15 qing of poor farmland. My children and younger relatives already have enough for clothing and food. As for myself, when I have served outside, all my clothing and food have depended on the court's supply. I have not managed any other business to increase private property. On the day I die, I do not wish there to be extra silk in my home or extra money outside, so that I will not fail your majesty's kindness." After finishing the final memorial, Kongming again instructed Yang Yi, "After I die, do not announce the mourning. Make a large wooden shrine and place my body sitting inside it. Put 7 grains of rice in my mouth and light 1 lamp beneath my feet. Everything in the army must continue as usual. No one is allowed to cry in mourning. In this way, the general star will not fall, and my spirit can still guard the army for a short time. When Sima Yi sees that the general star has not fallen, he will surely become frightened and suspicious. Our army can have the rear camps go first, withdrawing slowly 1 camp at a time. If Sima Yi pursues, you should set up the formation, turn the flags back, and beat the drums. When he comes, place the wooden statue of me that I carved earlier on a carriage and push it to the front of the army. Have the officers and soldiers high and low stand on both sides. When Sima Yi sees it, he will surely panic and retreat." Yang Yi accepted each instruction. That night, Kongming ordered men to help him walk out of the tent. He looked up at the northern dipper, pointed from afar at 1 star and said, "That is my general star." Everyone looked and saw that the star was dim in color, shaking as if about to fall. Kongming pointed his sword at the star and murmured words under his breath. After he finished, he hurriedly returned to the tent and lost consciousness. The generals were in panic when Li Fu suddenly came back. Seeing Kongming unconscious and unable to speak, he could not help crying loudly, "I have delayed a great affair of the state." After a while, Kongming woke again. He opened his eyes and saw Li Fu standing before the bed, so he said, "I know why you have returned." Li Fu apologized and said, I received the Son of Heaven's command to ask who can take on the great responsibility after the Chancellor passes away. A moment ago, because I was in a hurry, I did not have time to ask, so I have come back. Kongming said, after I die, the one most suited to take on the great responsibility is Jiang Yan. Li Fu asked again, after Gong Yan, who can take his place? Kongming answered, Fei Wei can take his place. Li Fu asked once more, after Wei, who should take his place? But Kongming did not answer. The generals came closer and looked. Kongming had already passed away. That year was the autumn, the 23rd day of the 8th month, in the 12th year of Jiang Xing and Shu Han. Zhu Liang was 54 years old. At first, Liao Li, the Changshui commandant of Shu Han, believed that his talent and reputation were enough to make him Kongming's deputy. Because his position was idle and unimportant, he often felt dissatisfied, complaining, resenting, and slandering without end.
Kongming then stripped him of his office, reduced him to commoner status, and exiled him to Wenchang. Later, when Liao Li heard that Kongming had passed away, he wept and said, in the end, I will be reduced to living among the barbarians. When Li Yan heard the news of Kongming's death, he also cried bitterly and then died of illness. This was because he had originally still hoped that one day, Kongming would use him again and allow him to make up for his past mistakes. Now that Kongming was dead, he knew there would no longer be anyone who would use him. That night, heaven and earth seemed filled with sorrow, and the moon gave no light. Kongming quietly passed away in the army at Wuzhang Plain. Jiang Wei and Yang Yi followed Kongming's final command, and did not dare announce his death or raise mourning cries. They only followed his instructions, placed Kongming's body in a coffin, set it inside the shrine, and ordered 300 trusted soldiers to guard it. At the same time, they passed down secret orders, ordering Wei Yan to guard the rear, while the camps withdrew slowly, one after another. Meanwhile, Sima Yi observed the sky at night and saw a large star, red in color and shining brightly, moving from the northeast toward the southwest before falling into the Shu camp. It rose and fell 3 times with a faint sound. Sima Yi was both shocked and delighted and said, Kongming is dead. He immediately ordered the great army to pursue. But just as he left the camp gate, Sima Yi became suspicious again and said, Kongming is skilled in the methods of the 6 Ding and 6 Jia. Now that he sees I have not fought for so long, perhaps he is pretending to be dead in order to lure me out. If I pursue now, I will surely fall into his plan. So he reined in his horse and returned to camp. He only sent Xiaoba to secretly lead several dozen cavalry to a remote area near Wuzhang Plain and find out what was real and what was false. Now, in his own camp, Wei Yan dreamed at night that 2 horns had suddenly grown from his head. After waking, he felt doubtful. The next day, Army Sima Zhaoji arrived, and Wei Yan asked him, I have long heard that you deeply understand the Book of Changes. Last night, I dreamed that horns grew from my head. I do not know whether this is good or bad. Zhaoji thought for a long while, then replied, This is a very lucky sign. The Qilin has horns on its head, and the blue dragon has horns on its head. This is the sign of transformation and rising into the sky. Wei Yan was delighted. If your words come true, I will certainly reward you well. Zhaoji took leave and left. On the road, he met Minister Fei Yi. Fei Yi asked where he had come from. Zhaoji said, I was just in Wei Wenchang's camp. He dreamed that horns grew from his head and asked me to judge whether it was lucky or unlucky. This was actually not a good sign, but I was afraid that if I spoke directly, he would blame me, so I explained it with the Qilin and the blue dragon. Fei Yi asked, How do you know it is not a lucky sign? Zhaoji answered, If you split apart the character of a horn, it becomes a knife over the word use. Using a knife on the head is extremely dangerous. Fei Yi said, Do not reveal this matter for now. Zhaoji took leave and went away. Fei Yi came to Wei Yan's camp, dismissed those on the left and right, and said, Last night at the 3rd watch, the Chancellor passed away. Before he died, he repeatedly instructed that the general should guard the rear, resist Sima Yi, and withdraw slowly. We must not announce the mourning. Now the military tally is here. General, you may raise the troops. Wei Yan asked, Who will act in the Chancellor's place and take charge of great affairs? Fei Yi answered, The Chancellor entrusted all major affairs to Yang Yi, and passed his military methods to Jiang Boyu. This military tally comes from Yang Yi's order. After hearing this, Wei Yan flew into a rage. Although the Chancellor is dead, I, Wei Yan, am still here. Yang Yi is nothing but a chief clerk. How can he take on this great responsibility? He is only fit to escort the Chancellor's coffin back into Sichuan for burial. I should lead the great army myself and attack Sima Yi, aiming for success. How can we abandon the great affairs of the state, just because the Chancellor alone has died? Fei Yi advised him. The Chancellor's final command was for us to withdraw for now. It must not be disobeyed, Wei Yan said angrily. If the Chancellor had listened to my plan back then, Chang'an would already have been taken. Now I hold the offices of Front General, General who campaigns west, and Marquis of Nanzang. How could I obey the orders of a chief clerk and guard the rear for him? Fei Yi said, General, your words have reason, but at this moment, you must not move rashly, or the enemy will laugh at us. Let me go see Yang Yi and explain the advantages and dangers to him, so that he gives military authority to you.
How would that be? Only then did Wei Yan agree. Fei Yi left Wei Yan and hurried back to the main camp to see Yang Yi. He reported Wei Yan's words in detail. Yang Yi said, "Before the chancellor died, he secretly instructed me, Wei Yan will surely have a disloyal heart in the future. Today, I sent you with the military tally precisely to test his intentions. Now the chancellor's words have indeed come true. I will arrange for Zhang Boyu to guard the rear myself." So Yang Yi led the army, escorting Kongming's coffin ahead, and ordered Jiang Wei to guard the rear. Following Kongming's final command, they slowly withdrew. Wei Yan waited in his own camp for a long time, but Fei Yi did not return. Feeling suspicious, he ordered Ma Dai to take more than 10 cavalry and go investigate. Ma Dai returned and reported, "The rear army is under Jiang Wei's command, and most of the troops in front have already withdrawn into the valley." Wei Yan flew into a rage. "That boy dared to deceive me. I must kill him." Then he looked at Ma Dai and asked, "Are you willing to help me?" Ma Dai answered, "I have also always hated Yang Yi. I am willing to help the general attack him." Wei Yan was delighted. He immediately pulled up camp and led his own troops south in pursuit. Meanwhile, Xiahou Ba led troops to Wuzhang Plain to inspect the situation. Seeing that there was not a single person in the Shu camp, he hurried back and reported to Sima Yi. "The Shu soldiers have all withdrawn." Sima Yi stamped his foot and said, "Kongming is truly dead. We can hurry and pursue." Xiahou Ba advised him, "Commander, you must not pursue lightly. You should first send a deputy general to scout the road." Sima Yi said, "This time I must go myself." So he took soldiers and horses along with his two sons and rushed toward Wuzhang Plain. The Wei army shouted and waved its flags as it charged into the Shu camp. Sure enough, there was not a single person inside. Sima Yi said to his two sons, "Quickly urge the rear army to follow. I will lead troops ahead first." So Sima Shi and Sima Zhao urged the army forward from behind, while Sima Yi personally led troops in pursuit to the foot of the mountain. Seeing that the Shu soldiers were not far away, he pursued with all his strength. Suddenly, from behind the mountain, a cannon sounded, and shouts shook the air. The Shu soldiers turned their banners back and beat the war drums. From the shadows of the trees, a central army banner floated out. On it were the words Han Chancellor, Marquis of Wuxiang, Zhu Zhiliang. Sima Yi turned pale with shock. Looking carefully, he saw dozens of senior Shu generals in the central army escorting a four-wheel carriage. On the carriage sat a man wearing a silk headscarf, holding a feather fan, and dressed in a crane feather cloak. He looked exactly like Kongming. Sima Yi cried out in alarm, "Kongming is still alive! I entered dangerous ground too lightly and fell into his plan." He hurriedly turned his horse around and fled. Behind him, Jiang Wei shouted, "Enemy general, do not run! You have fallen into our chancellor's plan." The Wei soldiers were frightened out of their wits. They threw away their helmets and armor, abandoned their weapons, and fled for their lives, trampling one another. Countless men were killed or wounded. Sima Yi ran wildly for more than 50 li. Behind him, two Wei generals caught up, grabbed the ring of his horse's bit, and shouted, "Commander, do not be afraid." Sima Yi touched his own head and asked, "Do I still have my head?" The two generals answered, "Commander, do not worry. The Shu soldiers have already gone far away." Sima Yi panted for a long time before his face slowly became calm again. When he opened his eyes and looked, he saw that they were Xiahou Ba and Xiahou Hui. So he returned to his own camp with the two generals along a small road, then ordered the generals to scout in all directions. 2 days later, local villagers came and reported. When the Shu soldiers withdrew into the valley, cries of mourning shook the sky, and white flags were raised in the army. Kongming is indeed dead. Only Jiang Wei stayed behind with 1,000 soldiers to guard the rear. The Kongming on the carriage a few days ago was made of wood. Sima Yi sighed and said, "I could predict his plans while he was alive, but I could not predict his plans after death." Because of this, the people of Shu had a saying, "A dead zhuge can frighten away a living zhanda." After Sima Yi confirmed that Kongming was dead, he led troops in pursuit again. When he reached Qian Slope, he saw that the Shu soldiers had already gone far away, so he gathered the army and returned. He said to the generals, "Kongming is dead. From now on we can sleep peacefully." So he led the army back to court. Along the way, Sima Yi saw that Kongming's old camps were arranged neatly in front, behind, left, and right, with strict order and discipline. He could not help sighing, this was truly a rare talent under heaven. After that, Sima Yi led the troops back to Chang'an, assigned the generals to guard the different passes, and then returned to Luoyang to meet the Wei ruler. Now, Yang Yi and Jiang Wei had set up their formations and slowly withdrawn to the entrance of the plank road. Only at this point did they put on mourning clothes, raise spirit-summoning banners, and announce the death with mourning cries. When the Shu soldiers and generals heard that Kongming had died, all of them fell to the ground and wept bitterly. Some even cried until they died. The front units of the Shu army had just returned to the entrance of the plank road when they suddenly saw firelight rising into the sky ahead, with shouts shaking the earth. A force of soldiers blocked the road. The generals were greatly shocked, and hurriedly reported this to Yang Yi. Now,
When Yang Yi heard that troops were blocking the road ahead, he hurriedly sent men to scout. The scouts returned and reported, Wei Yan has burned down the plank road and is leading troops to block our way. Yang Yi was greatly shocked and said, when the chancellor was alive, he had already predicted that this man would rebel sooner or later. I never expected it would truly happen today. Now he has cut off our road back. What should we do? Fei Yi said, Wei Yan will surely report to the Son of Heaven first and falsely accuse us of rebellion. That is why he burned down the plank road and blocked our retreat. We should also immediately submit a memorial to the Son of Heaven, explain the truth of Wei Yan's rebellion, and then deal with him. Jiang Wei said, there is still a small road here called Chashan. Although it is rough and dangerous, it can circle around behind the plank road. So Yang Yi wrote a memorial to report to the Son of Heaven, while also leading the men and horses onto the small road through Chashan. Meanwhile, the later lord was in Chengdu. For several days he could not eat or sleep in peace and could not sit or lie down calmly. One night, he suddenly dreamed that Jinping Mountain in Chengdu collapsed. After waking in fear, he sat until dawn, then hurriedly summoned the civil and military officials to court to interpret the dream. Qiao Zhou reported, last night I looked up at the sky and saw a large red star, with light like horns, falling from the northeast toward the southwest. This corresponds exactly to a great disaster for the chancellor. Now, your majesty has dreamed of a mountain collapsing, and this fits perfectly with that sign. After hearing this, the later lord became even more frightened. Just then, someone reported, Li Fu has arrived. The later lord hurriedly summoned him in. Li Fu knocked his head to the ground and cried as he reported that the chancellor had already passed away. He also explained in detail Kongming's final words before death. When the later lord heard this, he cried loudly, Heaven wants to destroy me. Then he collapsed onto the dragon bed in tears. The attendants hurriedly helped him into the inner palace. When Empress Dowager Wu heard the news, she also cried out loudly. All the civil and military officials of the court were filled with grief, and the people of Chengdu also wept. For several days, the later lord was so sorrowful that he could not attend court. Suddenly, someone else reported, Wei Yan has submitted a memorial, accusing Yang Yi of rebellion. The ministers were greatly shocked and entered the palace to report this to the later lord. At that time, Empress Dowager Wu was also in the palace, and the later lord ordered a close minister to read Wei Yan's memorial aloud. The general meaning of the memorial was, General who campaigns west and Marquis of Nanzang, Wei Yan reports that Yang Yi has seized military authority without permission, led the troops in rebellion, taken the chancellor's coffin hostage, and intends to bring the enemy into our borders. I have already burned down the plank road first and stationed troops to guard it. I now report this matter to your majesty. After it was read, the later lord said, Wei Yan is a brave general, and he is enough to resist Yang Yi and the others. But why did he burn down the plank road? Empress Dowager Wu said, I once heard the late emperor say that Kongming had long seen that Wei Yan had a rebel bone at the back of his head, and he wanted to kill him many times. He only spared him for the time being because he valued his bravery. Now Wei Yan says Yang Yi has rebelled, but we cannot easily believe him. Yang Yi is a scholar. The chancellor appointed him as chief clerk, surely because he was useful. If today we listen to only one side, Yang Yi and the others may truly defect to Wei. This matter must be handled carefully and must not be rushed. The officials were still discussing when someone suddenly reported, an urgent memorial from Chief Clerk Yang Yi has arrived. A close minister opened the memorial and read it aloud. It said, Before the chancellor died, he entrusted the great affairs to me. Following the old system, I withdrew the army and ordered Wei Yan to guard the rear, with Jiang Wei behind him. Now Wei Yan has disobeyed the chancellor's final command. He has led his own troops ahead into Hanzhong without permission, set fire to the plank road, seized the chancellor's spirit carriage, and is plotting rebellion. Because the matter is urgent, I report this by fast dispatch. After Empress Dowager Wu heard this, she asked the ministers, What do you think? Zheng Wan reported, In my humble opinion, although Yang Yi has a quick temper and cannot tolerate others, he handled grain and supplies, helped plan military affairs, and worked with the chancellor for many years. Before the chancellor died, he entrusted the great affairs to him. There must have been a reason. Wei Yan has always relied on his achievements and acted proudly. Everyone gave way to him, and only Yang Yi refused to give way. Because of this, Wei Yan held hatred in his heart. Now that he sees Yang Yi commanding the troops, he refuses to accept it. He burned down the plank road, cut off the route back, and then falsely accused Yang Yi instead. I am willing to guarantee with my whole family that Yang Yi will not rebel. As for Wei Yan, I do not dare guarantee him. Dong Yun also reported, Wei Yan relies on his high achievements and has often spoken words of resentment. Before, he did not dare rebel because he feared the chancellor. Now the chancellor has just passed away, and he has taken the chance to create disorder. This is exactly what would be expected. Yang Yi is quick and capable, and he was valued by the chancellor. He certainly will not rebel. The later lord asked, If Wei Yan truly has rebelled, how should we deal with him? Jiang Wan answered, The chancellor always suspected Wei Yan,
so he must have left a plan for Yang Yi. If Yang Yi had nothing to rely on, how would he dare withdraw into the valley mouth? Wei Yan will surely fall into the plan. Your Majesty may be at ease. Before long, Wei Yan again submitted a memorial accusing Yang Yi of rebellion. While they were reading it, Yang Yi's memorial also arrived, accusing Wei Yan of rebellion. The two men kept sending memorials, each saying his own version. Suddenly, someone reported, Fei Yi has arrived. The later lord summoned him into the palace, and Fei Yi explained the truth of Wei Yan's rebellion in detail. The later lord said, "Since this is so, please have Dong Yun take the imperial tally and go to persuade him. Use kind words to calm him." Dong Yun accepted the edict and left. Now Wei Yan had burned down the plank road and stationed troops at South Valley, thinking he had succeeded in his plan. Unexpectedly, Yang Yi and Jiang Wei had already led troops through the night along the small road of Cheshan and circled around behind South Valley. Yang Yi worried that Hanzhong might be lost, so he ordered the vanguard He Ping to take 3,000 soldiers and go ahead first, while he and Jiang Wei escorted Kongming's coffin toward Hanzhong. He Ping led his troops straight to the rear of South Valley, beating drums and shouting. Scouts quickly reported to Wei Yan. Yang Yi has ordered the vanguard He Ping to come around by the small road of Chashan and challenge us. Wei Yan was furious. He put on his armor, mounted his horse, raised his blade, and led troops out to fight. After the two armies formed their lines, He Ping rode out and cursed loudly. "Where is the rebel traitor Wei Yan?" Wei Yan also cursed back. "You are helping Yang Yi rebel. How dare you curse me?" He Ping rebuked him. "The chancellor has only just passed away, and his body is not yet cold. How dare you rebel?" Then he raised his whip and pointed at the Sichuan soldiers in Wei Yan's army, saying, "You are all people of western Sichuan. Most of you have parents, wives, children, brothers, relatives, and friends at home. When the chancellor was alive, he never treated you badly. Now you must not help a rebel traitor. Each of you should return home and wait for rewards." When the soldiers heard this, they shouted once, and more than half scattered away. Wei Yan was furious. He swung his blade and urged his horse straight toward He Ping. He Ping raised his spear to meet him. The two fought for several rounds. Then He Ping pretended to lose and fled. Wei Yan pursued behind him. The troops fired arrows and crossbows together, and Wei Yan turned his horse back, but he saw that his own soldiers were scattering one after another. He became even angrier and chased after them, killing several men, but still could not stop the defeat. Only the 300 men led by Ma Dai remained completely still. Wei Yan said to Ma Dai, "You are truly helping me. After this succeeds, I will never fail you." So he and Ma Dai pursued He Ping together. He Ping led his troops and fled quickly. Wei Yan gathered his remaining soldiers and discussed with Ma Dai, saying, "What if we surrender to Wei?" Ma Dai said, "General, these words are not wise. Why should a true man not establish his own great cause, but instead so easily bend his knee to others? In my view, General has both wisdom and courage. Among the generals and soldiers of the two rivers, who would dare resist you? I am willing to help General first take Hanzhong, and then attack western Sichuan." Wei Yan was delighted, and he and Ma Dai led troops straight toward Nanzang. From the walls of Nanzang, Jiang Wei saw Wei Yan and Ma Dai arrive in a show of force. He hurriedly ordered men to pull up the drawbridge. Below the city, Wei Yan and Ma Dai shouted, "Surrender quickly!" Jiang Wei invited Yang Yi to discuss matters. Wei Yan is brave, and he also has Ma Dai helping him. Although he has few soldiers, his attack is fierce. How should we drive him back? Yang Yi said, "Before the chancellor died, he left a brocade bag and instructed me, if Wei Yan rebels, open it only when facing him in battle. Inside, there will naturally be a plan to kill Wei Yan. Now is exactly the time to take it out and look." So Yang Yi took out the brocade bag and opened the seal. He saw that it said, "When facing Wei Yan in battle, open this only while on horseback." Jiang Wei was delighted and said, "Since the chancellor instructed it this way, Chief Clerk, keep the brocade bag safe. I will first lead troops out of the city and form the line, and you may come afterward." After saying this, he put on his armor, mounted his horse, held his long spear, and led 3,000 soldiers to open the city gate. Drums thundered, and they formed their battle lines. Jiang Wei stood with his spear on horseback and shouted, "Rebel traitor Wei Yan, the chancellor never treated you badly. Why have you betrayed us today?" Wei Yan held his blade across his horse and said, "Boyu, this has nothing to do with you. Just tell Yang Yi to come out." From the shadow of the gate banners, Yang Yi opened the brocade bag and read it. Seeing the plan written inside, he was delighted. He then rode out lightly and stopped his horse in front of the formation. Pointing at Wei Yan, he smiled and said, "When the chancellor was alive, he already knew you would rebel sooner or later and taught me to guard against you. Today, it has indeed come true. If you dare to shout 3 times from horseback, who dares kill me? Then I will count you as a true man, and I will hand over the city of Hanzhong to you." Wei Yan laughed loudly and said, "Listen, you common man, Yang Yi. If Kongming were still alive, I would still fear him a little. But now he is dead. Who under heaven dares be my enemy? Forget shouting it 3 times. Even if I shouted it 30,000 times, what would be hard about that?" So Wei Yan raised his blade and held the reins, shouting from horseback, "Who dares kill me?" Before he had even finished the first shout, someone behind his head answered fiercely, "I dare kill you." With one lift and fall of the blade, Wei Yan was cut down from his horse. Everyone was shocked. The man who killed Wei Yan was Ma Dai. It turned out that before Kongming died, he had already secretly given Ma Dai a plan. He only had to wait until Wei Yan shouted, then strike him down by surprise. After Yang Yi read the brocade bag, he knew that Ma Dai had already hidden himself according to the plan, so he deliberately provoked Wei Yan to speak. Sure enough, Wei Yan was removed in one move. Before Dong Yun had even arrived at Nanzang, Ma Dai had already killed Wei Yan and joined forces with Jiang Wei. Yang Yi wrote a memorial through the night to report to the later lord. The later lord issued an edict saying, "Wei Yan's crime has been decided, but remembering his past achievements, grant him a coffin and bury him." Yang Yi and the others then escorted Kongming's coffin back to Chengdu. The later lord led all the civil and military officials, all wearing mourning, and came 20 li outside the city to receive it. The later lord cried loudly. From high ministers and officials down to common people in the mountains and villages, men and women, old and young, all wept bitterly, and the sound of mourning shook the sky. After that, the later lord ordered men to escort the coffin into the city and place it in the chancellor's residence. Kongming's son, Zhuge Zhan, kept mourning for his father. After the later lord returned to court, Yang Yi bound himself and asked for punishment. The later lord ordered a close minister to untie him and said, "If not for you following the chancellor's final command, when could the coffin have returned? And how could Wei Yan have been removed? The great affairs of the state were preserved. This is all your merit." So he promoted Yang Yi to Central Army Advisor. Because Ma Dai had merit in suppressing the rebel, Wei Yan's title was given to him. Yang Yi then presented Kongming's final memorial. After the later lord read it, he cried bitterly and issued an edict to choose an auspicious burial place. Fei Yi reported, before the chancellor died, he ordered that he be buried at Dingjun Mountain, without walls or bricks and stones, and without any burial objects. The later lord agreed. So an auspicious day was chosen in the 10th month of that year. The later lord personally escorted the coffin to Dingjun Mountain for burial, issued an edict to offer sacrifices, gave Kongming the posthumous title Marquis Zhongwu, and ordered a temple built in Mianyang with sacrifices offered in all 4 seasons. Now, after the later lord returned to Chengdu, a close minister suddenly reported, "News has come from the border. Eastern Wu has ordered Quan Kong to lead tens of thousands of soldiers and station them at the border of Bachu. We do not know what this means." The later lord was shocked and said, "The chancellor has just passed away. If Eastern Wu abandons the alliance and invades the border, what should we do?" Zhang Wan reported, "I dare guarantee that Wang Ping and Zhang Ni can lead tens of thousands of troops and station them at Yong'an to guard against unexpected events. Your Majesty should also send an eloquent envoy to Eastern Wu to report the death, and at the same time, find out what they are planning." The later lord said, "We must have someone skilled in argument." Before his words had even finished, one man stepped forward and answered, "I am willing to go." Everyone looked and saw that it was Zong Yu of Nanyang, courtesy named Dayan, who held the offices of Army Advisor and Right General of the household. The later lord was delighted and immediately ordered Zong Yu to go to Eastern Wu to report the death and investigate the truth. Zong Yu accepted the order and came to Jinling. He entered to see the Wu ruler Sun Quan. After the formal greetings were finished, he saw that the people on both sides were all wearing plain mourning clothes. Sun Quan asked with a stern face, "Wu and Shu are already one family. Why has your lord increased the guard troops at Beidi?" Zong Yu answered, "In my opinion, the east increasing troops at Baichu and the west increasing guards at Baidi are both forced by the situation. There is nothing worth questioning each other about." Sun Quan laughed and said, "You are not inferior to Deng Ji at all." Sun Quan then said, "When I heard that Chancellor Zhu had passed away, I shed tears every day and ordered all officials to wear mourning clothes. I worried that Wei might take advantage of Shu's mourning period and attack, so I increased the troops at Baku by 10,000 as support. I had no other intention." Zong Yu knocked his head to the ground and thanked him. Sun Quan said, "Since I have formed an alliance with you, how could I abandon trust and righteousness?" Zong Yu said, "The Son of Heaven specially ordered me to come and report the death because the Chancellor has just passed away." Sun Quan then took a golden arrow, broke it, and swore, "If I betray the alliance, may my descendants be cut off." He also ordered an envoy to take incense, silk, and funeral offerings into Sichuan to pay respects. Zong Yu took leave of Sun Quan and returned to Chengdu together with the Wu envoy. He reported clearly to the later lord, "Because the Chancellor passed away, the Wu ruler himself has been shedding tears every day and ordered his ministers to wear mourning clothes. His increase of troops at Bachu was because he feared Wei might take advantage of the situation and invade. He has no disloyal intention. Now he has broken an arrow as an oath and will never betray the alliance." The later lord was delighted, richly rewarded Zong Yu, and treated the Wu envoy generously. So the later lord followed Kongming's final instructions. He promoted Jiang Wan to Chancellor and General-in-Chief and put him in charge of the affairs of the Secretariat. He promoted Fei Yi to Director of the Secretariat to handle the Chancellor's affairs together with him. He promoted Wu Yi to General of Chariots and Cavalry, gave him the Imperial Tally, and ordered him to command Hanzhong. He promoted Jiang Wei to General who supports Han and Marquis of Pingxiang, giving him overall command of the troops in different places. Jiang Wei and Wu Yi were to station themselves in Hanzhong together to guard against Wei soldiers. The other generals and officers were all used according to their original posts. Yang Yi believed that his years of service were older than Jiang Wan's, yet now his rank was below Jiang Wan's. He also relied on his great achievements and felt that he had not received a great reward, so he spoke words of complaint to Fei Yi, saying, "When the Chancellor had just passed away, if I had taken the whole army and surrendered to Wei, how could I be as lonely and neglected as I am now?" Fei Yi secretly reported these words truthfully to the later lord. The later lord was furious and had Yang Yi imprisoned and questioned. At first, he wanted to execute him. Jiang Wan reported, although Yang Yi is guilty, he followed the Chancellor in the past and made many achievements. He should not be executed. He should not be executed. Yang Yi was so ashamed that he drew his sword and killed himself. In the 13th year of Jiangxing in Shuhan, the 3rd year of Qinglong under the Wei ruler Cao Ri, and the 4th year of Jiahe under the Wu ruler San Quan, none of the 3 states sent out large armies. Speaking only of the Wei ruler Cao Ri, he promoted Sima Yi to Grand Commandant and placed him in overall command of all the troops of the state, to stabilize the borders. After Sima Yi bowed in thanks, he returned to Luoyang. But Cao Ri began massive construction in Zhuchang, building palaces. He also built Chaoyang Hall and Taiji Hall in Luoyang, built the Zhongzhang Tower, which was 10 zhang high, and also built Changhua Hall, Qingshao Pavilion, Phoenix Tower, and 9 Dragon Pool. He ordered scholar Ma Jun to supervise the construction. The halls and pavilions had carved beams and painted rafters, blue roof tiles and golden bricks, and were extremely splendid. Cao Ri drafted more than 30,000 skilled craftsmen and more than 300,000 laborers from across the realm, forcing them to build day and night without rest. The people suffered unbearably, and complaints filled the roads. Cao Ri then issued another edict, ordering major construction in Fangling Garden and making ministers and high officials personally carry earth and wood. Minister over the masses Dong Sun submitted a memorial, strongly advising against it. He said that since the Jian'an years, the world had suffered constant war, with countless dead and wounded. Many families had been completely wiped out, and even among those who survived, many were only orphans and widows. If palace buildings had to be repaired now, it should still follow the proper seasons and must not interfere with farming, let alone the construction of useless things like these. A ruler should treat ministers with ritual respect, and ministers should serve the ruler with loyalty. Now, making ministers and high officials carry wood and earth until their bodies are covered in mud damages the dignity of the state. I know that saying these words may bring death upon me, but if living brings no benefit, why should I fear death? I write with tears, as if parting from the world, and leave the decision to your majesty. After reading this, Cao Ri was furious and said, "Does Dong Sun not fear death?" The attendants requested that he be beheaded. Cao Ri said, "This man has always been loyal and righteous. For now, strip him of office and make him a commoner. If anyone else speaks nonsense again, he will surely be executed." At that time, Zhang Mao, a household attendant of the crown prince, also submitted a strong memorial of protest, and Cao Ri actually ordered him beheaded. That same day, Cao Ri summoned Ma Jun and asked, "I want to build high platforms and tall pavilions, hoping I can communicate with immortals and seek the art of long life." Ma Jun reported, Emperor Wu of Han enjoyed the longest reign and the greatest lifespan, probably because he once consumed the essence of the sun and moon from heaven. In the palace at Chang'an, he built the Beiliang Terrace. On the terrace stood a bronze figure holding a dew-catching basin, collecting the sweet dew that fell from the northern dipper at the 3rd watch. Mixing this water with powdered jade and taking it can restore youth. Cao Ri was delighted and ordered Ma Jun to take men through the night to Chang'an, dismantle the bronze figure, and move it into Fanglin Garden. Ma Jun led 10,000 men to Chang'an and built wooden frames around Beiliang Terrace. The terrace was 20 zhang high, and the bronze pillar was extremely thick. The men first removed the bronze figure, and they saw tears suddenly flowing from its eyes. Everyone was frightened. Suddenly, a violent wind rose around the terrace, blowing sand and stones everywhere. There was a great sound like heaven collapsing and earth splitting, and the terrace leaned over, the pillar fell, and more than 1,000 people were crushed to death. Ma Jun took the bronze figure and golden basin back to Luoyang and presented them to Cao Ri. Cao Ri asked, "Where is the bronze pillar?" Ma Jun reported, "The bronze pillar weighs 1,000,000 jin and cannot be transported." Cao Ri ordered men to smash the bronze pillar into pieces, move them back to Luoyang, and cast them into 2 bronze figures, called Wenchang, to stand outside the Sima Gate. He also cast 2 bronze dragons and 2 bronze phoenixes, and placed them in front of the hall.
He then planted rare flowers and strange trees in Shangling Garden and raised rare birds and unusual beasts there. Junior tutor Yang Fu submitted a memorial advising against this. He said that Yao lived in a thatched hut, yet all the states lived in peace. Yu's palace was simple, yet the world was peaceful. Ji built jewel chambers and ivory corridors, and Zhou built the tilting palace and deer terrace, so they lost the state. King Ling of Chu built Zhanghua Terrace and brought disaster on himself. Qin Shi Huang built Epang Palace. The people rebelled, and the Qin dynasty ended in its second generation. Anyone who ignores the strength of the people and only satisfies the desires of the eyes and ears has never escaped destruction. Your Majesty should take Yao, Shun, Yu, Tang, King Wen, and King Wu as models, and take Ji, Zhou, Chu, and Qin as warnings. If you only focus on decorating palaces, towers, and terraces, you will surely bring disaster and danger. The memorial was submitted, but Cao Ru ignored it. He only urged Ma Jun to continue building the high terrace, place the bronze figure and dew-catching basin there, and also issued an edict to widely select beautiful women from across the realm and send them into Fanglin Garden. Many officials submitted memorials of protest one after another, but Cao Rui refused to listen to any of them. Cao Rui's empress, Lady Mao, was from Hanyi. In the early years, when Cao Rui was still the prince of Pingyuan, the two were deeply in love. After Cao Rui ascended the throne, he made Lady Mao empress. Later, Cao Rui favored Lady Guo, and Empress Mao gradually lost favor. Lady Guo was beautiful and clever, and Cao Rui loved her deeply. Every day he enjoyed pleasure with her, and for more than a month he did not leave the palace gates. That year, in the third month of spring, the flowers in Fengling Garden were blooming in full color. Cao Rui and Lady Guo were admiring the flowers and drinking wine. Lady Guo said, "Why not invite the empress to come and enjoy this together?" Cao Rui answered, "If she were here, I could not drink even one drop of wine." So he ordered the palace maids not to let Empress Mao know. Empress Mao saw that Cao Rui had not come to the main palace for more than a month. One day, she took the palace attendants to Kuihua Tower to relax. Hearing music, she asked, "Where is music being played?" The palace official answered, "His Majesty is admiring flowers and drinking wine with Lady Guo in the Imperial Garden." Empress Mao felt upset and returned to the palace to rest. The next day, Empress Mao rode in a small carriage out of the palace to enjoy herself. In the winding corridor, she met Cao Rui and smiled, saying, "Your Majesty had a very enjoyable visit to the Northern Garden yesterday." Cao Rui was furious. He immediately ordered the attendants who had served him the day before to be seized and scolded them, saying, "Yesterday, when I visited the garden, I strictly forbade those around me from telling the Empress. Why was it late?" He then ordered the palace officials to behead all the attendants who had served him. Empress Mao was shocked and returned to the palace in her carriage. Cao Rui immediately issued an edict ordering Empress Mao to die, and then made Lady Guo the new empress. Not a single minister in court dared to advise against it. Suddenly, one day, Guan Chujian, inspector of Yuzhou, submitted a memorial saying that Gongsun Yuan of Liaodong had rebelled. He had declared himself king of Yan, changed the reign title to Shaohan, built palaces, established offices, raised troops, and created disorder, shaking the north. Cao Rui was greatly shocked and immediately gathered the civil and military officials to discuss sending troops to punish Gongsun Yuan. Now, Gongsun Yuan was the grandson of Gongsun Du of Liaodong and the son of Gongsun Kang. Back then, when Cao Cao was pursuing Wenchang, before he had even reached Liaodong, Gongsun Kang cut off Wenchang's head and presented it to Cao Cao. Because of this, he was granted the title Marquis of Xiangping. Later, Gongsun Kang died, leaving behind two sons, the eldest, Gongsun Huang, and the second, Gongsun Yuan. Both were still young, so Gongsun Kang's younger brother, Gongsun Gong, took over the office. When Cao Pi was on the throne, he also made Gongsun Gong general of chariots and cavalry and Marquis of Xiangping. In the second year of Taihei, Gongsun Yuan had grown into an adult. He was skilled in both civil and military affairs, and his nature was strong and fond of conflict, so he seized power from his uncle Gongsun Gong. Cao Rui made him general who raises fierceness and administrator of Liaodong. Later, Sun Quan sent Zhang Mi and Su Yan to Liaodong with gold, silver, jewels, and rare treasures, and granted Gongsun Yuan the title King of Yan. Gongsun Yuan feared the power of Cao Wei in the Central Plains, so instead he killed Zhang Mi and Su Yan and presented their heads to Cao Rui. Because of this, Cao Rui made Gongsun Yuan Great Marshal and Duke of Leilong, but Gongsun Yuan still was not satisfied. So he discussed with his followers, declared himself King of Yan, and changed the reign title to the first year of Shaohan. His deputy general Jiafan advised him, "The Central Plains has treated my lord with the rank of a high duke, which is not low at all. To rebel now is truly improper. Besides, Sima Yi is skilled in using troops. Even Zhu Wuhu of Western Shu could not defeat him, let alone my lord." Gongsun Yuan was furious. He ordered men to tie up Jiafan and prepared to behead him. Army advisor Lan Ji also strongly advised him, saying, "What Jiafan said is reasonable. The sages said that when a state is about to fall, strange demons will appear. Recently, strange things have appeared again and again in our state. A dog was seen wearing a headscarf and red clothes, jumping onto a roof and walking like a human. There was also a villager cooking, and suddenly, a dead child steamed out of the rice steamer. At the market north of Xiangping, the ground collapsed, and a strange piece of flesh emerged. It had a head, face, eyes, ears, mouth, and nose, but no hands or feet, and knives and arrows could not harm it. Diviners said that this means something has form but cannot become complete, has a mouth but cannot make a sound. When a state is about to fall, such a sign appears. These three strange events are all unlucky signs. My lord should avoid disaster and seek good fortune. You must not move lightly." Gongsun Yuan flew into a rage and ordered warriors to bind Lan Ji and Jiafan together and behead them in the marketplace. After that, he appointed the great general Wei Yan as marshal and Yang Zhou as vanguard, leading 150,000 Liaodong soldiers toward the central plains. The border officials sent an urgent report to the Wei ruler Cao Rui. Cao Rui was greatly shocked and summoned Sima Yi to court to discuss the matter. Sima Yi reported, "The infantry and cavalry under my command, 40,000 in all, are enough to defeat the rebels." Cao Rui said, "Your troops are few and the road is distant. I fear it will be difficult to recover the region." Sima Yi answered, "Victory does not depend on having many soldiers. It depends on strange strategies and wonderful plans. Relying on your majesty's great blessing, I will surely capture Gongsun Yuan and present him to your majesty." Cao Rui asked, "How do you think Gongsun Yuan will respond?" Sima Yi said, "If he abandons the city and flees first, that is the best plan. If he firmly holds Liaodong and resists the great army, that is the middle plan. If he sits and defends Xiangping, that is the worst plan, and he will surely be captured by me." Cao Rui asked again, "How long will this journey there and back require?" Sima Yi answered, "The road is 4,000 li. Going there will take 100 days, attacking will take 100 days, returning will take 100 days, and resting will take 60 days. About 1 year will be enough." Cao Rui asked again, "If Wu and Shu take the chance to invade, what should be done?" Sima Yi said, "I have already set a defensive strategy. Your majesty need not worry." Cao Rui was delighted and immediately ordered Sima Yi to raise the army and campaign against Gongsun Yuan. Sima Yi took leave of the court and left the city. He appointed Hu Zun as vanguard and ordered him to lead the front troops to Liaodong and set up camp first. Scouts quickly reported this to Gongsun Yuan. Gongsun Yuan ordered Wei Yan and Yang Zhou to divide 80,000 soldiers and station them at Liao Sui. They dug trenches for more than 20 li and placed deer horn barriers all around, defending tightly. Hu Zun reported the situation to Sima Yi. Sima Yi smiled and said, "The rebels do not want to fight us. They want to wear down our army. I expect most of their troops are here, so their old nest Xiangping must be empty. It is better to abandon Liao Sui and attack Xiangping directly. The rebel army will surely come to rescue it. We can strike them halfway and surely win a great victory." So he ordered the great army to take a small road and go straight toward Xiangping. Wei Yan and Yang Zhou were discussing matters. "If the Wei soldiers come to attack, we should not fight them. They have come from 1,000 li away, and their grain supply will be difficult to maintain. They cannot last long, and once their grain is gone, they will have to withdraw. When they retreat, we can send strange troops to attack them and capture Sima Yi alive." Back then, Sima Yi faced the Shu army at Weinan, defended firmly and refused to come out, and in the end, Kongming died of illness in the army. The principle now is the same. Before they finished speaking, someone suddenly reported, "The Wei soldiers have gone south." Wei Yan was shocked. "They know Xiangping has few soldiers, so they are going to attack our old camp. If Xiangping falls, guarding this place will be useless." So the two pulled up camp and pursued. Scouts had already quickly reported this to Sima Yi. Sima Yi smiled and said, "They have fallen into my plan." He immediately ordered Jiahu Ba and Jiahu Wei to each lead a force and lie in ambush by the Liao River. When the Liaodong soldiers arrive, attack from both sides together. The two accepted the order and left. Before long, Wei Yan and Yang Zhou led their soldiers in pursuit. With one cannon signal, drums sounded on both sides. On the left was Yahu Ba, and on the right was Yahu Wei, both attacking at once. Wei Yan and Yang Zhou had no heart to fight and fought their way out in flight. When they fled to Shou Mountain, they met Gongsun Yuan's reinforcements arriving. The two armies joined together and turned back to fight again. Wei Yan rode out and cursed, "Enemy general, stop using tricks. Do you dare come out and fight?" Xiahu Ba urged his horse forward and swung his blade to meet him. After only a few rounds, Xiahu Ba cut Wei Yan down from his horse with one strike. The Liaodong soldiers fell into chaos, and Xiahu Ba drove his troops forward to attack. Gongsun Yuan led the defeated soldiers and fled into Xiangping city, shutting the gates tightly and defending without coming out. The Wei soldiers surrounded the city on all sides. At that time, autumn rain was falling continuously and did not stop for more than a month. On the flat ground, the water was 3 feet deep, and grain boats could sail directly from the mouth of the Liao River to the foot of Xiangping's walls. The Wei soldiers were all in the water, and moving, sitting, and sleeping were all extremely difficult. Left Commander Pei Jing entered the tent and reported, "The rain has not stopped. The camp is full of mud, and the army cannot stay here. Please, Grand Commandant, move the camp to the mountain ahead." Sima Yi said angrily, "Capturing Gongsun Yuan alive is now only a matter of days. How can we move camp? Anyone else who speaks of moving camp will be executed." Pei Jing withdrew in fear. Before long, Right Commander Qiu Lian also came to report. "The soldiers are suffering greatly from the water. I beg the Grand Commandant to move camp to higher ground." Sima Yi was furious. "My military order has already been given, and you still dare disobey it." He immediately ordered men to drag Qiu Lian out and behead him, then hang his head outside the command gate. All the generals and soldiers in the army were shaken with fear. After that, Sima Yi ordered the soldiers in the southern camp to temporarily withdraw 20 li, allowing the soldiers and civilians inside the city to come out to cut firewood and graze cattle and horses. Army Sima Chen Qun did not understand and asked, "When the Grand Commandant attacked Shangyong, you divided the troops into 8 routes, reached the city in 8 days, captured Meng Da alive and achieved great merit. Now you have brought 40,000 armored troops from 1,000 li away, yet you do not attack the city. Instead, you make everyone stay in mud and water for a long time, and even allow the rebels to leave the city to cut firewood and graze animals. I truly do not understand the Grand Commandant's intention." Sima Yi smiled and said, "You do not understand military methods. In the past, Meng Da had much grain and few soldiers, while our army had little grain and many soldiers, so we had to fight quickly, strike suddenly, and attack by surprise in order to win. Now the Liaodong soldiers are many, while my soldiers are few. The rebels are hungry, and my army is full. Why must I force an attack? We should allow them to flee on their own, then take the chance to strike them. Now I am opening one road and not stopping them from cutting firewood and grazing animals. This is allowing them to escape by themselves." After hearing this, Chen Qun was fully convinced. Sima Yi then sent men to Luoyang to urge the transport of grain and supplies. The Wei ruler Cao Rui held court, and the ministers all reported, "Recently autumn rain has continued for more than a month. The men and horses are exhausted. We can recall Sima Yi and stop the campaign for now." Cao Rui said, "Grand Commandant Sima is skilled in using troops. He remains calm in danger and has many good plans. Capturing Gongsun Yuan alive is only a matter of days. Why should you worry?" So Cao Rui refused to listen to the minister's advice and ordered men to continue sending grain and supplies to Sima Yi's army.
Several more days passed, and the rain stopped. The sky cleared. That night, Sima Yi came out of the tent and looked up at the stars. Suddenly, he saw a star as large as a dipper, with flowing light several zhang long, falling from the northeast of Shou Mountain to the southeast of Xiangping. The soldiers in every camp were all frightened. When Sima Yi saw it, he was delighted and said to the generals, "5 days from now, at the place where the star fell, Gongsun Yuan will surely be executed. Tomorrow we will attack the city together." The generals accepted the order. The next morning, the Wei army surrounded the city on all sides, piled up earthen mounds, dug tunnels, set up stone-throwing carts and cloud ladders, and attacked day and night. Arrows flew like sudden rain into the city. Inside the city, Gongsun Yuan had run out of grain and supplies. He had no choice but to slaughter cattle and horses for food. Everyone in the city hated him and had no heart to defend the city. They wanted to cut off Gongsun Yuan's head and present the city in surrender. When Gongsun Yuan heard this, he was frightened and quickly ordered his chancellor Wang Jian and imperial censor grandee Lu Fu to go to the Wei camp and ask to surrender. The two were lowered from the city wall with ropes and came before Sima Yi, saying, "Please, Grand Commandant, withdraw 20 li, and our ruler and ministers will come to surrender on our own." Sima Yi flew into a rage. Why did Gongsun Yuan not come himself? This is truly rude. He immediately ordered warriors to drag the two men out and behead them, then gave their heads to their followers to carry back into the city. When Gongsun Yuan received the report, he was greatly shocked. He then sent palace attendant Wei Yan to the Wei camp. Wei Yan crawled on his knees below the tent and reported, "Please, Grand Commandant, calm your anger. Please grant us a few more days. We will first send the heir, Gongsun Shu, as a hostage, and then our ruler and ministers will bind ourselves and come to surrender." Sima Yi said, "In military affairs there are 5 choices. If you can fight, then fight. If you cannot fight, then defend. If you cannot defend, then flee. If you cannot flee, then surrender. If you cannot surrender, then die. Why send your son as a hostage?" After saying this, he shouted at Wei Yan and sent him back with the message. Wei Yan fled back in panic, holding his head. After Gongsun Yuan heard this, he was greatly frightened. He secretly discussed the matter with his son Gongsun Shu, selected 1,000 men and horses, and at the second watch that night, opened the southern gate and fled toward the southeast. Seeing that no one stopped him, Gongsun Yuan was secretly delighted. but before they had gone 10 li, suddenly cannon sounded on the mountain, drums and horns rang together, and an army blocked the road. In the center was Sima Yi, with Sima Shi on the left and Sima Zhao on the right. The two shouted, "Rebel traitor, do not run!" Gongsun Yuan was shocked and quickly turned his horse, trying to find another road to escape. But by then, Hu Zun's troops had also arrived. On the left were Xiahou Ba and Xiahou Wei. On the right were Zhang Hu and Yo Chen. They surrounded him as tightly as an iron barrel. Gongsun Yuan and his son had nowhere to go, so they had no choice but to dismount and surrender. On horseback, Sima Yi said to the generals, "On the Bingyan night before last, I saw a great star fall at this place. Tonight, on the Renshen night, it has indeed come true." The generals all congratulated him together. "The Grand Commandant's divine calculations are wonderful." Sima Yi gave the order to execute Gongsun Yuan and his son. Gongsun Yuan and his son were immediately killed. Sima Yi then gathered the troops and took Xiangping. Before he had reached the city walls, Hu Zun had already entered the city first. The people inside the city burned incense, knelt, and welcomed them. All the Wei soldiers entered the city. Sima Yi sat in the government office and had Gongsun Yuan's clan and all the officials who had joined the plot executed. More than 70 heads were cut off. After that, he posted notices to comfort the people. Someone told Sima Yi, "Jiafan and Lunji once strongly advised Gongsun Yuan not to rebel, but both were killed by Gongsun Yuan." So Sima Yi ordered their graves to be protected and treated their descendants generously. He also rewarded the three armies with the wealth from the storehouses, then led the army back to Luoyang. Meanwhile, the Wei ruler Cao Rui was in the palace. One night at the third watch, a cold wind suddenly blew out the lamps, and he saw Empress Mao leading several dozen palace women, crying as they came before his seat to demand his life. Because of this, Cao Rui became ill, and his condition grew worse. So he ordered palace attendants and Guanglu grandee Lu Fang and Sun Zi to take charge of secret affairs. He also summoned the son of Emperor Wen, the Prince of Yan, Cao Yu, to serve as Grand General and assist Crown Prince Cao Fan in governing. Cao Yu was respectful, frugal, and gentle by nature, and he firmly refused, unwilling to take on such a heavy responsibility. Cao Rui then summoned Lu Fang and Sun Zi and asked, "Within the imperial clan, who can take on this great responsibility?" Lu Fang and Sun Zi had long received favors from Cao Zhen, so they recommended, "Only Cao Shuang, the son of Cao Zidan, can do it." Cao Rui accepted their advice. The two then reported, "Since Cao Shuang is to be used, the Prince of Yan should be sent back to his fief." Cao Rui also agreed. Lu Fang and Sun Zi then asked Cao Rui to issue an edict. Taking the edict, they went to inform the Prince of Yan. The Son of Heaven's handwritten edict orders the Prince of Yan to return to his fief, and he must leave today. Without an edict, he is not allowed to enter court. The Prince of Yan left in tears. So Cao Rui made Cao Shuang Grand General and placed him in overall command of court affairs. Before long, Cao Rui's illness became critical. He urgently sent an envoy with the imperial tally and edict to summon Sima Yi back to court. Sima Yi received the edict and went straight to Zuchang to see the Wei ruler. Cao Rui said, "I only feared that I would not be able to see you. Now that I can see you today, I can die without regret." Sima Yi knocked his head to the ground and reported, "On the road, I heard that your majesty's sacred body was unwell, and I wished I could grow wings under my ribs and fly to the foot of the palace. Today I have been able to see the dragon face. This is my fortune." Cao Rui summoned Crown Prince Cao Fang, Grand General Cao Shuang, palace attendants Lu Fang and Sun Zi, and the others all to the imperial bed. Holding Sima Yi's hand, he said, "Back then, when Liu Bei was critically ill at Beidi City, he entrusted his young son Lu Shan to Zhuge Kongming. Kongming exhausted his loyalty and did not stop until he died. Even a small remote state could do this. How much more should a great state do the same? My young son Cao Fan is only 8 years old and cannot control the state alone. I hope the Grand Commandant, together with the imperial relatives, meritorious officials, and old ministers, will do everything you can to assist him and not fail my intention." He then called Cao Fan and said, "Zhang Da and I are as one body. You should respect him." Then he ordered Sima Yi to bring Cao Fan forward. Cao Fan held Sima Yi around the neck and refused to let go. Cao Rui said through tears, "Grand Commandant, do not forget the affection this young child shows you today." Sima Yi knocked his head to the ground and wept. After Cao Rui became dazed, he could no longer speak. He only pointed with his hand at the crown prince, and before long he passed away. He had ruled for 13 years and died at the age of 36. This was in the last 10 days of the first month, in the spring of the 3rd year of Jingchu in Wei. Sima Yi and Cao Shuang supported Crown Prince Cao Fan in ascending the throne. Cao Fan, courtesy name Lan King, was the adopted son of Cao Rui. He had been secretly raised in the palace, and no one knew his origins. After Cao Fan came to the throne, he gave Cao Rui the posthumous title Emperor Ming and buried him at Gaoping Ling. He honored Empress Guo as Empress Dowager and changed the reign title to the 1st year of Zhengxi. Sima Yi and Cao Shuang governed together as regents. At first, Cao Shuang was very respectful toward Sima Yi.
Whenever there was an important matter, he always reported it to Sima Yi first. Cao Shuang, Cory named Zhao Bo, had entered and left the palace since childhood. Emperor Ming saw that he was careful in his conduct and liked him very much. Cao Shuang had 500 guests under his household, and among them, 5 were most trusted. They were Wei Yan, courtesy name Ping Shu, Deng Yang, courtesy name Xuan Mao, Li Sheng, courtesy name Gong Zhao, Ding Mi, courtesy name Yan Jing, and Bai Gui, courtesy name Zhao Xian. There was also Minister of Agriculture Huan Fan, courtesy name Yuan Zhe, who possessed considerable strategy. Everyone called him the Wise Bag. Wei Yan advised Cao Shuang, "My lord holds supreme power. You must not entrust it to others, or I fear it will leave troubles for the future." Cao Shuang said, "Lord Sima and I both received the late emperor's command to protect the young ruler. How could I bear to turn against him?" Wei Yan then said, "In former days, your late father Cao Zhen campaigned against Shu alongside Sima Yi, and time and again he suffered grievances from this man. Because of this, he fell ill and passed away. How can my lord fail to examine this carefully?" After hearing this, Cao Shuang naturally woke up to the danger. He consulted the officials and entered the palace to report to Cao Fan. "Sima Yi holds great merit and virtue. He may be promoted to Grand Tutor." Cao Fan agreed to this. So although Sima Yi obtained a lofty title, his military authority was stripped away, and all military power fell into the hands of Cao Shuang. Cao Shuang then appointed his younger brother Cao Shi as commander of the Central Army, Cao Sun as general of the Imperial Guards, and Cao Yan as cavalier attendant in ordinary. Each of them commanded 3,000 palace guards and could enter and exit the Forbidden Palace freely. He also appointed Wei Yan, Deng Yang, and Ding Mi as palace secretaries, Bi Gui as director of retainers, and Li Xing as governor of Henan. These 5 men discussed state affairs with Cao Shuang day and night, and the number of retainers at Cao Shuang's residence grew larger and larger. Seeing the unfavorable turn of events, Sima Yi claimed illness and ceased all official visits. His 2 sons also resigned their official posts and stayed idle at home. Every day, Cao Shuang drank wine and indulged in pleasures alongside Wei Yan and the others. The standards of his clothing and tableware matched those of the imperial court. Whenever rare treasures were presented from various regions, he would first pick the finest ones for himself and only send the rest to the palace. His mansion was filled with beautiful women. The eunuch Zhang Deng curried favor with Cao Shuang and secretly selected 7 or 8 of the late emperor's concubines to send to Cao Shuang's residence. Cao Shuang also chose 30 to 40 graceful young women skilled in song and dance to serve as entertainers in his household. He built multi-story towers and painted pavilions, cast gold and silver tableware, and hired hundreds of skilled craftsmen to labor day and night. At that time, Wei Yan heard that Guan Lu of Pingyuan excelled in numerology and divination, so he invited him to discuss the I Ching. Ding Yang was also present and asked, "Sir, you claim mastery of the changes. Why do you not expound the meanings of its texts when you speak?" Guan Lu replied, "One who truly understands the changes never speaks directly of the changes." Wei Yan smiled and praised him, then asked Guan Lu, "Please perform a divination for me. Will I ever attain one of the 3 dukes' positions? Also, I repeatedly dream of dozens of blue flies landing on my nose. What omen is this?" Guan Lu said, "Yuan and Kai aided Shun, and the Duke of Zhou aided the Zhou court. They all received blessings because they lived in harmony and humility. Now, my lord holds high rank and great power, yet few are grateful to you, while many fear you. I fear this is not the path to good fortune. The nose symbolizes a tall mountain. Only when a mountain stands high yet without peril can wealth and honor endure long. Now filthy creatures such as blue flies gather upon your nose. The higher your station, the swifter your fall may be. Does my lord not fear this? I hope my lord will make up your deficiencies with virtuous conduct and refrain from all deeds that violate ritual and law. If you do so, the rank of 3 dukes may still be within reach, and the ill omen of the blue flies shall also be driven away." After Deng Yang heard these words, he flew into anger and said, "This is nothing but stale pedantry from an old scholar." Guan Lu said, "An aged scholar sees events yet to be born, and stale words reveal truths yet unspoken." He then brushed his sleeves and took his leave. Wei Yan and Deng Yang laughed loudly and said, "What a mad scholar." When Guan Lu returned home, he told his uncle what had happened. His uncle was greatly alarmed. "Wei Yan and Deng Yang wield immense power. Why did you offend them?" Guan Lu answered, "I was speaking to men already marked for death. What is there to fear?" His uncle asked for the reason. Guan Lu said, "When Deng Yang walks, his bones and sinews cannot contain his flesh. His blood and pulse fail to control his muscles and skin. When he stands, he sways left and right as if he has no hands or feet. This is the sign of a wandering ghost. When Wei Yan gazes at others, his spirit and soul are unsteady, his complexion lacks radiance, his mind is muddled, and his face is like dead wood. This is the sign of a hidden ghost. These 2 men will meet their doom sooner or later. What need have I to fear?" His uncle scolded him for being deranged and turned away.
Cao Shuan often went hunting outside the city with Wei Yan, Deng Yang, and their associates. His younger brother Cao Shi advised him, "Elder brother, your power is far too heavy, yet you are overly fond of hunting. If someone schemes against you, regret will come too late." Cao Shuan rebuked him, "Military power rests entirely in my hands. What is there to fear?" Minister of Agriculture Huan Fan also offered repeated warnings, yet Cao Shuan would not listen. At that time, the reign year Zhengxi 10 of Wei was renamed Jiaping I. Cao Shuan had long held sole power, yet he could not tell whether Sima Yi's illness was genuine or feigned. Just then, the Son of Heaven appointed Li Sheng as inspector of Jingzhou. Cao Shuan told Li Sheng to take his leave of Sima Yi and, at the same time, test whether the old man's sickness was real. Li Sheng arrived at the Grand Tutor's residence, and the gatekeeper first went inside to report. Sima Yi said to his two sons, "This is Cao Shuan sending a man to test whether my illness is true or fake." He then removed his cap, let his hair fall loose, lay down upon the bed and covered himself with a quilt. He also had two maids support him before inviting Li Sheng into the chamber. Li Sheng stepped to the bedside and bowed, saying, "I have not seen the Grand Tutor in a long while, and I never expected your illness to grow this severe. Today, the Son of Heaven has appointed me inspector of Jingzhou, so I have come specially to take my leave." Sima Yi deliberately misheard. "Bingzhou borders Shoufeng. You must guard it with great care." Li Sheng said, "I am inspector of Jingzhou, not Bingzhou." Sima Yi smiled again and said, "You have just returned from Bingzhou." Li Sheng corrected him, "It is Jingzhou alongside the Han River." A servant beside them said, "The Grand Tutor's ears have gone deaf." Li Sheng asked for paper and a writing brush to write the name down for Sima Yi to read. After Sima Yi glanced at it, he smiled and said, "This sickness has robbed me of my hearing. Take care on your journey." With that, he pointed to his mouth. A maid brought medicinal soup. Sima Yi leaned forward to drink, yet soup spilled all over his robes. He choked and gasped, "I am now advanced in years and gravely ill. My life hangs by a thread. My two sons are useless fellows. I beg you to guide them well. If you see the Grand General, do take good care of my two boys." Having spoken, he collapsed back onto the bed, his voice hoarse, gasping endlessly. After Li Sheng took his leave, he returned to see Cao Shuan and recounted every detail of Sima Yi's pitiful condition. Cao Shuan rejoiced, "Once that old man passes away, I shall have no more worries." As soon as Li Sheng departed, Sima Yi instantly rose and said to his two sons, "Once Li Sheng goes back and reports what he saw, Cao Shuan will no longer fear me. We need only wait for the day he leaves the city to hunt, and then we can strike." A few days later, Cao Shuan accompanied the Wei ruler Cao Fan to Gaopingling to offer sacrifices to the late emperor. All civil and military officials followed the imperial carriage out of the capital. Cao Shuan brought along his three younger brothers, together with Wei Yan and his other trusted confidants, escorted by the palace guards. Minister of Agriculture Huan Fan reined in his horse and warned him, "My lord commands all palace guards. It is improper for all your brothers to leave the city together. If trouble erupts within the capital, what shall we do?" Cao Shuan flicked his horsewhip at him and snapped, "Who would dare stir up chaos? Speak no more nonsense." On that day, when Sima Yi watched Cao Shuan depart the city, his heart filled with delight. He immediately gathered his veteran subordinates who had fought beside him in countless campaigns, along with dozens of household generals. Taking his two sons with him, he mounted his steed and set off straight to seize absolute power from Cao Shuan.
In this episode, after Zhuge Liang's death, the situation of the three kingdoms officially entered a new stage. On the Shu Han side, Wei Yan acted exactly as Zhuge Liang had predicted before his death. Taking advantage of the chancellor's passing and the army's unsettled morale, he burned down the plank road, blocked the retreat, and tried to seize military authority. But before Kongming died, he had already left behind a brocade bag and had secretly arranged for Ma Dai to stay close to Wei Yan. Wei Yan thought no one could defeat him, and in front of the formation he shouted, "Who dares kill me?" But he never expected that the person who would truly kill him was standing right behind him. With one strike, Ma Dai cut down Wei Yan and completely ended this internal crisis within the Shu army. After that, Zhuge Liang's coffin was brought back to Chengdu. The later Lord Lu Shan personally went out of the city to receive it, and the civil and military officials, as well as the people of Shu, all wept bitterly. Kongming was finally buried at Dingjun Mountain and was given the posthumous title Marquis Zhongwu. According to his final command, Zhang Wan, Fei Yi, Wu Yi, Jiang Wei, and the others took over the heavy responsibilities and continued to maintain the political situation of Shu Han. But without Zhuge Liang, the strength of Shu Han could no longer be forcibly held up by one man the way it had been before. At the same time, Eastern Wu also made movements because of Zhuge Liang's death. Sun Quan increased troops at Baku, which made the Shu Han court worry for a time that Wu might break the alliance. Fortunately, Zhong Yu went as an envoy to Eastern Wu. With his quick mind and sharp words, he found out the truth and confirmed that Sun Quan was not trying to take advantage of the mourning period to invade Shu. Instead, he was worried that Cao Wei might use this chance to attack Shu. For the time being, the Wu-Shu alliance was preserved. On the Wei side, Sima Yi also welcomed a new opportunity. He first pacified Gongsun Yuan's rebellion in Liaodong, showing extremely powerful military skill. After that, the Wei ruler Cao Rui became seriously ill and entrusted the young Cao Fan to Cao Shuang and Sima Yi. On the surface, Wei had formed a situation where the imperial clansman Cao Shuang and the old minister Sima Yi governed together. But in reality, a deeper struggle for power had already begun. At first, Cao Shuang was very respectful toward Sima Yi, but after being stirred up by Wei Yan and the others, he gradually took away Sima Yi's military authority. He honored Sima Yi as Grand Tutor, but held the real military and political power in his own hands. Cao Shuang appointed his trusted followers, indulged in pleasure, pushed aside old ministers, and even forced Sima Yi to pretend to be ill in order to avoid danger. But Sima Yi had not truly become old and confused. He pretended to be seriously ill, deceived Li Sheng, and also deceived Cao Shuang. When Cao Shuang took the Emperor Cao Fan, along with his brothers and trusted followers, out of the city to worship at Gaopingling, Sima Yi finally found his chance. After Zhu Zhiliang died, Sima Yi's greatest opponent on the battlefield had disappeared, and now, what he truly had to face was no longer Shu Han's northern campaigns, but the core of power inside Cao Wei itself. So this time, with Sima Yi suddenly raising troops, will he be able to seize Luoyang? Cao Shuang holds military power and has the emperor with him outside the city. Will he strike back against Sima Yi? And how will this incident at Gaopingling completely change Cao Wei and even change the final fate of the three kingdoms? We'll continue the story in the next episode.
If you enjoyed today's episode, feel free to give the show a like, subscribe, and share it with someone you think would enjoy it too. Thank you for spending this time with me. I will see you in the next episode.
Sky and light knew I healed the broken heart. Folks, she traced the world's design. Every age leaves stories bright. Yaya dynasty shaped bronze. Shang dynasty cast dynasty forged the great walls, and dynasty opened Silk Road winds. Three kingdoms dynasty turned war to tales. Jin dynasty led Tang Dynasty raise. Learn